This review was made possible by contributions from viewers like you.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Okay, fine, so I'm not releasing this video during the Christmas season, but hey, every 50th review usually comes out during the holidays, and I'm a sucker for tradition. And it's also very fitting that for this, my 250th review, that I have a very special gift for you all. Transformers: Age of Extinction. It's the most wonderful time of the year, with the studio's cash grabbing and copyright flagging for reasons unclear. It's the most wonderful time of the year. They're the dumbest movies they sell. All the holiday tripe that makes me wanna gripe. Seriously, what the hell? They're the dumbest movies they sell. Oh, why me? There'll be movies for riffing, comics for nitpicking. Of course, it must be a Bob show. There'll be bad animation, dogs talking, damnation, and plots that you cannot follow. What the hell's going on? It's the most wonderful time of the year. I might be misbehaving, but I've got my raven under mistletoe. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Now, I know what you're thinking. Didn't I already review this movie when it first came out in 2014? Sort of, but that was just me rambling in front of my camera for over an hour. Since I actually enjoyed this movie, I'd say it deserves a more proper video essay like the rest of my reviews. Oh yes, you heard me correctly. I enjoyed this movie. Which is more than a little ironic, since, according to everybody else, this is apparently the bad Transformers movie. First and foremost, while this movie is technically a sequel to the first 3 Transformers films, it's also trying to treat itself as a reboot. Makes perfect sense to me. It's not like the other movies were paying attention to their own continuity. Might as well just hit the reset button. We open on prehistoric Earth, where aliens of unknown origin bomb the planet, turning their targets into technomatter. It's sort of implied that this is how life on robotic planets like Cybertron arose, but for some reason, these aliens didn't finish what they started here on Earth, leaving only enough of these roboticized dinosaurs to be discovered in the Arctic and nowhere else.
Well, what do you think? I think history is about to change.
It really is amazing how easily people forget that we've already had Transformers in our ancient history for thousands of years. We then meet our main character, Cade Yeager, played by Mark Wahlberg. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you expecting Sam Witwicky to return? Well, he doesn't. In fact, he's never even mentioned in this movie. It's like someone finally realized that maybe we don't want to follow an annoying, egotistical little douchebag like Shia LaBeouf for another 3 hours of a movie. It also goes without saying that without Sam, we don't have his girlfriends, his roomies, or his obnoxious parents to deal with either. Consider what Clarence tells George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life.
Each man's life touches so many other lives. When he isn't around, he leaves an awful hole, doesn't he?
I guess we'll have to agree to disagree on what awful is supposed to mean, because the hole left from Shia LaBeouf leaving the Transformers movies is a glorious one. Have you ever had to take a really, really big crap, but you had to wait for the longest time to get to the bathroom? And then when you finally get there and you do your business, there's just this overwhelming sense of relief and relaxation, like you could just pass out on the toilet right there. That is what the absence of Shia LaBeouf feels like. Back to our new protagonist. I know a lot of people laugh at the name Cade Yeager, but it works for this character. According to BehindTheName.com, his name literally translates to Round Hunter. The name works for him because he hunts for any piece of junk that he can get his hands on so he can recycle them into robotic works of art, And as a roboticist who finds time to work out, on top of trying to be a good father to his daughter, Tessa, he's sure a hell of a lot more varied and rounded as a character than anyone else we've seen in these movies. And honestly, I am way more open to the possibility of accepting a character like this over someone who is grossly mischaracterized like... that. While he's driving to his next find, he passes by a billboard that says, "Remember Chicago," clearly a reference to the attack on Chicago in Transformers 3. Okay, I said I like this movie, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't have its problems. How is it that Chicago was this really big deal, but nobody remembers what happened in LA or Egypt? Anyway, Cade meets up with his surfer friend, TJ Miller, who is so much funnier here than he ever was in the Emoji Movie.
Does things still work?
No. Yes, and still groundbreaking. Go back there, lay on the recliner, just wait for a cold one.
Come on. Bring Daddy the alcohol. Come on. Wait, so it just brings the beer near you? That's the trick?
Get in here. Lock that door.
Doesn't have a lock. Use my money to buy the truck, right? So technically, that's my truck. Don't you think?
You also signed a contract regarding all research lab IP. Any idea of yours is mine. Any thought you have, I own it. So basically, I own you.
I don't think you can own someone. That was like a while ago, even in Texas. You can't keep an alien locked up in your barn. What are you gonna do, play with him?
Will you calm down?
I'm trying to, but I just got hit in the head with a 10-foot cannon.
They go to an old movie theater, where apparently someone drove an old truck into it and left it for scrap. I need to take a moment to pause from the movie and point out that Michael Bay put a surfer in Texas. What do you think of when someone says Texas? Cowboys, long stretches of desert, propane and propane accessories? I would gather that most people generally don't associate surfers with Texas, but yeah. Like California and Florida, the beaches of Texas are no stranger to surfers. I just think it's amazing that Michael Bay, who usually loves indulging in stereotypes, would show us something as non-stereotypical as a surfer in Texas. Santa Claus from the Three Doggeteers leads them to the truck, which is an old cab over. There's a bit of mystery regarding why this banged-up piece of crap is covered in bullet holes and full of mortar shells, as if we're not supposed to have any idea that this is actually Optimus Prime. If we ignore the last three movies and take it as a reboot, this is actually pretty effective foreshadowing. By the way, remember how for the longest time Optimus was a nose truck instead of a cab over like we see here? They would like you to believe that a more G1 accurate design would put Optimus at 20 feet tall, but this design with this truck mode would make him 28 feet tall and make him look more impressive. Yeah, it was that extra 8 feet that made people love the first movie. We'll see later on that this cab-over design does nothing to interfere with his 28-foot robot mode. And while this movie has its share of problems, one thing you'll hear no one complain about is how Optimus in this body doesn't have the flames that he had in the last three movies. It's like Bay is finally experimenting by listening to some of the comments left by the hardcore fans. And it's working! We're introduced to Cade's daughter Tessa as she gets word that her application for financial aid was denied, leading into some exposition about how hard it is for Cade to be a single father, how all he wants to do is fix and sell junk that he finds to help her get into college, and she's not entirely confident in their chances.
Dad, do you think maybe something should never be invented?
No, I don't. That's backwards thinking.
It's also worth pointing out that we've known these characters for only a few minutes, and they already have more chemistry together than Shia LaDipshit with his girlfriends in 3 movies.
I know it's been sucky around here lately, but we're gonna be fine, sweetie. You just gotta keep believing, okay? I mean, that's what great inventors do. I promise you, one day, I'm gonna build something that matters.
I believe you, Dad.
You know, your mom will be very proud of you.
Meanwhile, CIA agent Kelsey Grammer is doubling down on the Autobots after the Chicago attack. And I'm not entirely sure why. Were they perfectly fine working with them for the last 7 years with Nest? What happened? Shouldn't they know the difference between Autobots and Decepticons by now?
Wreckers, kill him! This is going to hurt a lot!
I withdraw the question. And for some reason, Grammer has these Transformers in the form of playing cards instead of case files? He's obsessed with hunting down and destroying the remaining Autobots and Decepticons, and he's able to do so with the help of this other Transformer named Lockdown, who doesn't identify as Autobot or Decepticon. Maybe he's a GoBot. They track down Ratchet to this abandoned ship, and things quickly go south for him.
No! Hold fire! Not see, I've been injured.
I lost a sister in Chicago. You get no sympathy from me.
What's wrong with you humans?
To be fair, this guy probably lost his sister because you Autobots were sitting back and doing nothing while the Decepticons were tearing loose all over Chicago. So, yeah. Lockdown demands that Ratchet give him the location of Optimus Prime, but he ain't talking, so he's no longer useful to Lockdown, and he takes his spark. Oh no, they killed Ratchet. Now who's going to make awkward comments about insufferable teenagers and how they want to bone random hotties that they'll forget about in a couple of years? We jump back to Cade, who's been tinkering with the old truck that he found, and he makes a very interesting discovery.
Want to hook this back to a working battery?
Calling all Autobots.
Oh yeah. I don't think it's a truck at all. I think we just found a Transformer.
Look at that. Just one line of dialogue is all that it takes for Mark Wahlberg to convey a sense of reverence towards this property.
Sam, that makes me feel bad.
Well, yeah, I hope you feel bad. You should feel bad. Look at the jalopy I'm driving now. I feel bad every single day.
Oh, Sam. I don't miss you at all. Cade brings Optimus back online, and he's not exactly happy.
I'll kill you! Stay back!
Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
If this were any of the 3 previous movies, I would call foul on Optimus being as bloodthirsty as he is. But, since the whole of humanity seems to enjoy being a dick to him, yeah, okay, I believe it. Cade offers to fix him up so he can find his fellow Autobots, and Optimus accepts.
Took a hell of a hit, you know. Missile just missed your power source.
We call it a spark. It contains our life force and our memories.
We call it a soul.
Grammer gets a bead on the truck that eluded his team in an earlier bout, and they track him down to Cade's farm.
Mr. Yeager, my name's James Savoy. I'm a federal agent. My men and I are trying to track down an abandoned truck.
Five in.
Intruders, back away from the premises.
The hell is that? Just some dumb inventor.
I think you mean some dumb invention. There's no sign of the truck they're looking for, but when Secret Agent No Sister threatens Tessa's life...
Oh yeah! Here I
I forgot about this douchebag. Can't have a Michael Bay film without at least one, can you? Show of hands, who else thought that this was another Autobot coming to save the day? Nope. It's Tessa's boyfriend, who she's been hiding from her father because she isn't allowed to date until after she graduates. So, yeah, kind of an awkward meeting here. Their car chase takes them from the boonies into the middle of town.
Hang on!
Hey, we got ourselves a winner. Dawn's got it over here. Let's get it.
You lost him! Good job, stranger from the cornfields.
Good job almost murdering a bunch of seniors! They get away from the CIA, but Lockdown is fresh on their heels, and he flash fries Miller into technomatter. I'm actually sad to see this stupid comic relief in a Michael Bay movie die. They drive out to the middle of nowhere, and while Optimus leaves to make sure they aren't being followed, Cade and douchey McBoyfriend have a chance to get better acquainted. Apparently, he makes his living as a race car driver, and he's from Ireland.
Where's he from?
I told you he's a driver from Texas.
Texas? Where? Dublin, Texas? Shamrock, Texas? Then why does he sound like a leprechaun?
You get your ass kicked in Ireland for saying that.
Oh, we're not in Ireland. Lucky Charms, we're in Texas.
Right. This guy's about as Irish as I am Jamaican.
Actually, according to his IMDb page, while he was born American, he's lived in Ireland since he was 2.
You gotta be shitting me. They go through the trouble of finding an Irishman who sounds as not Irish as possible, and then they proceed to have Mark Wahlberg throw some Lucky Charms jokes at him? Faith and Begorra. You want to know something else about him? He's 20 years old, and he's dating a 17-year-old. But it's totally okay thanks to Romeo and Juliet laws, which I would wager almost no one in this audience would have heard about, if not for the movie pausing to tell us about them. Why go through all this trouble when it would be all too easy to simply establish that both of them are either minors or legal adults? It's bad enough that this guy is a complete asshole who considers Tessa his personal property, but they had to add that extra layer of squeakiness for Daddy to disapprove of. What's the point? Optimus comes back the next day. Sure is a good thing that they were able to get a good night's sleep with this ratty, run-down gas station that just happens to have a mattress in it. Ew. And they're on the run. While no one's looking, Optimus takes the opportunity to take on a new truck mode. Yes, I know that truck I just scanned was white, but I need the red and blue paint job anyway, because I look fabulous! Seriously, this has been your default look for the last 7 years! You don't think that maybe the government might be looking for flames like this? Invest in solid colors! And when Optimus transforms to robot mode, it only makes sense that his new body would look different to accommodate his new vehicle mode, and admittedly, I do like how more streamlined he is in this movie than he was in the last 3. But again, I have to ask, if they can replace any part that they need in order to replicate any alternate form they want on a whim, why can't they just magically repair themselves? If Optimus could just make exhaust pipes out of nothing, why can't Bumblebee do the same to restore his broken voice box? I also need to point out that a lot of this movie is shot in Monument Valley. It only took them 4 movies, but it finally looks like the Transformers cartoon they desperately want us to think they aren't ripping off. Optimus relays a message to the remaining surviving Autobots, and they soon converge on his location. They meet Bumblebee again, as well as some new Autobots, like this Bugatti helicopter named Drift.
I'll find your inner compass. Loyalty's but a flower in the winds of fear and temptation.
What the hell are you saying?
It's a haiku.
Yes, you recite haikus, you look like an ancient samurai, and your face is painted yellow. Just couldn't resist, could you, Bay? By the way, that's Ken Watanabe playing Drift, and John Goodman playing Hound. Isn't it nice that they gave enough of a damn about the robots having dialogue to necessitate proper casting? It's almost like the robots actually matter or something.
Autobots, Lockdown is hunting us, and humans are helping. We need to know why.
Probably because you've done nothing to take your war with the Decepticons off-world. That and, again, I'm pretty sure that you just sitting back and doing nothing while the Decepticons were terrassing around Chicago wasn't earning you any brownie points. After studying one of the drones that Cade got his hands on, they deduce that the Autobots' remains are being held at KSI, a tech lab in Chicago. You'd think that Chicago would want to stay as far away from the Transformers as possible, but whatever. Cade helps them gather some intelligence necessary to help them sneak inside, and he thinks he might be able to find something inside that he can use to blackmail the government to get their freedom back. Yeah, they were about to murder your daughter a few days ago. It doesn't matter what kind of blackmail material you find, they're gonna shoot you right in the face and not give it a second thought. Which is, again, just weird. What is the point of Bay praising the US military like he does, while at the same time making the government look like a bunch of shady monsters? Running KSI is Stanley Tucci, playing a ridiculously successful counterpoint to Cade's struggling, undiscovered genius. His people have mined the technomatter that allegedly killed the dinosaurs, although one is left wondering how actual dinosaur bones still exist instead of all being turned into metallic sculptures like we see here. And he's developed it into a new element that he calls Transformium. Combining this with the knowledge acquired from tapping into the Transformer genome, they're able to take what looks like a simple plastic ball and turn it into literally anything they can imagine. The pill, guns, rainbow dashes, anything! Apparently, we've had access to their technology ever since we captured Megatron in the 1930s, but we finally did something revolutionary with that technology. I want a Transformer Ball! Our heroes, meanwhile, have to resort to shoplifting just to survive.
Hey, found a whole bunch of boxes of clothes. So, sweetie, you can get some long pants, nice loose-fitting ones, and lose the short shorts, okay? What'd you guys get?
It's protein.
Look, I said the essentials, okay?
It was an easy. You almost got caught.
You stole mouthwash?
I like to be fresh when I'm making out with your daughter.
Yeah, you do know that you guys are fugitives right now, right? I mean, pretty sure that Cade would go to jail for the same amount of time for treason that he would for treason and killing a guy.
Yeah, that's not happening. Ever.
Ever?
Excuse me, there's no smooching in front of me, okay?
You're so square. Who even says smooching?
Oh yeah, no respect. It's just impossible sometimes.
Yeah, I went through that with Bumblebee.
He kept on sneaking away just so he could watch Sam and Michaela make out. It was really weird.
It also turns out that Stanley Tucci wants to corner the robotics market with his own line of Transformers, starting with his greatest creation, Galvatron.
I modeled Galvatron after Optimus Prime. Why does he keep looking like Megatron?
It would be one thing for this guy to be building a knockoff of Optimus Prime, but accidentally imbuing it with evil programming by hooking it up to Megatron's severed head, and thereby creating Nemesis Prime. But this movie takes it in a completely different direction. Ever since the first movie, Megatron's been nothing but a roaring, snarling monster. There's been supplemental reading material that wanted us to believe that Megatron was actually rather vain, which is why he hung on to his Cybertronian jet mode instead of some Earth-based vehicle. That's a load of crap. They just made him a Cybertronian jet because it's easier to make him transform into something wild and alien instead of figuring out how to make him transform into something real. This, however, is absolutely brilliant. Megatron is obviously still conscious in there somehow, and all logic would dictate that he should let the scientists design this new robot to look like Optimus Prime. But whether it's intentional or subconscious, he cannot allow that. His programming needs it to look like Megatron, even when everything dictates that he shouldn't. It's like the Joker trying to frame Batman by wearing his own batsuit as he runs around and commits his next crime spree, but he can't help but paint the suit purple. That is vanity.
Simple coding. Algorithms! Math! Why can't we make what we want to make the way we want to make it?
I know, right? Screw YouTube's copyright algorithms. As long as I'm employing fair use, I should be able to use whatever media I want. Wait. We're not talking about making reviews, are we? Also strapped to their Transformium whatever machine is Brains from Transformers 3. I have no idea why they're keeping him alive instead of dismantling him for parts, but it's not all bad. Oh my lord, does it feel good to watch that? Do it again. Kate sneaks Bumblebee into the lab along with some other cars that are being scanned for their trans bootlegs.
Introducing Stinger. KSI, we make the world.
Kinda looks like you, B.
Here's the past, and now
They're trying to build their own version.
Well, at least they're picking cooler cars than this.
My god, seeing Bumblebee smack that guy in the face makes me happy. But Kelsey Grammer sees through Kate's disguise and orders the lab into lockdown. As in, they keep everyone in the lab inside. They lock all the doors. They don't put him into lockdown. The bounty hunter, because he's a Lamborghini and not a clown car. The Autobots come out of hiding to save Cade, and Bumblebee has to take a quick break so he can scan the latest model Camaro. Because we can't have boyfriend McIrish thinking that your disguise is lame, can we? They rescue Cade before Grammer can pump him for information, then they destroy the robotics lab.
Get out! All of you! Transfer's over, meatbag!
Remember, we're the good guys here!
Also, thanks for punching up the dialogue, Bender.
Science fair's over, meatbag.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
Destroy it all!
Danger, security breach. Danger, security. No, no.
No! They killed Oreobot! He was so sweet on the inside!
Hey! Stop! That's company property!
They're not your property. They were my friends.
Oh, you ain't talking so much now. You got Hound in front of you, huh?
Ugh, couldn't they just ignore him? Or better yet, step on him? And actually, talking like this to a couple of giant robots that you have every reason to fear? This guy's got some serious gonads on him. And would you believe it? He actually tells Optimus to get out, and he does so. But since Grammer considers this a terrorist attack, he orders Galvatron and this Bumblebee knockoff named Stinger to take them down.
200 meters. Engage. Transform.
And yeah, I bitch about how the transformation sequences don't make a lick of sense in these movies, but at least with Galvatron here, they're being honest about it. But shit, Galvatron transforms, and he kills a bunch of people before going after the Autobots. Whoops. Oh, and look what happens when Bumblebee tries shooting back at him. Oh my god, that is awesome! It isn't long before he and Optimus are duking it out.
That's a run to the field!
You have no soul. That is why I have no fear.
Holy crap, I forgot how much Frank Welker sounds like Leonard Nimoy in this role. This is amazing. Oh yeah, they didn't get Frank Welker to play Megatron in the last 3 movies because they thought he sounded too old or some bullshit. But they bring him back to play Galvatron, and he somehow sounds more like Galvatron here than he ever did in the original cartoon.
Coronation, Starscream. This is bad comedy.
Ah, Cyclonus, how wonderful to see you again.
You have no soul. That is why I have no fear.
I have no idea how they did it, but it is just too satisfying hearing Galvatron with this voice. But before Galvatron can do any more damage to Optimus, Lockdown shows up and says that he's taking him back to his creators. Tessa gets abducted along with him, but since she serves no purpose to him, Lockdown commands that she be taken out to the trash, a command which is executed by these things. I have no idea why these things were designed to look like Wallies with human eyeballs, but I love them. They look like they could have come straight out of the cartoon. They're only on screen for a few seconds, but man, they're just disturbing. Like, what am I even looking at here? Everything else about them fits right in with the established aesthetic of the Transformers movies, but the big, goofy eyeballs on pistons? Why? And for some reason, the design team had to name them Stupid Drones. Well, that's not very nice. They don't do anything stupid, so you're gonna call them Stupid Drones just because they look a little silly? You made them look like that, you jerks. Stupid drones indeed. I want to see what these things do when they aren't running Lockdown ship. Do they do karaoke? Play board games? Make fun of our movies? I need to know! Anyway, Tessa escapes them before they can incinerate her. Then we jump to Lockdown... well, locking down Optimus, along with the other knights that his creators made. Now that he has Optimus, he gives this seed of Transformium to Grammer's Goon Squad. So he's a bounty hunter, and he pays them after he captures his quarry for them? Interesting way of doing business. While this transaction is going down, our heroes sneak aboard the ship to save Optimus and Tessa.
This is crazy. Look, you want to cut and run, you better do it now. I'm gonna die trying. Hey, I'm not here to help you get your daughter. You're here to help me get my girlfriend.
Who the f*** do you think you are? What, do you think just because you licked her that makes her your own personal property or something? Also, Cade, her father, has said on numerous occasions that he's perfectly fine with killing you. I don't think this is how you talk to someone if you want them to change their mind. The Autobots keep Lockdown from taking off by releasing the ship's anchors, and Cade and Asshole find the armory, which is right next to the round table. Huh.
Oh man, I'm so gonna patent this shit.
That's this movie's version of...
I have got to get me one of these!
Tessa!
Shane, I love you, you saved me.
I know.
No, he didn't. Your father saved you. Do you want to know what Shane did when he had the chance to save you?
They turn that corner and we're gonna take them. You ready or are you gonna bitch out on me?
No, I got your back.
Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Don't bitch out on me, are you ready?
Yeah. Whoa, okay. I surrender.
Our hero, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Jaeger Technologies, you gonna invent the way out of this one?
Hey, Seamus Potato Sucker, you want to do something to actually help? They get outside and start walking across the anchor cables to escape. Yeah, no. No. I mean, yeah, go down the cables. Good idea. Probably the only option you have. But walking? Nuh-uh. You are crawling down those cables with your arms and legs wrapped around them as tightly as possible. Even if you have ravenous robotic hyenas chasing you. Interesting. Cybertron has birds and jaguars and dragons, so yeah, why not hyenas? The hyenacons bite through the cables, and... watch out for that building. Crosshairs here hijacks a fighter ship, picks up Bumblebee and the humans, and a little dogfight ensues.
Come on, B! Take him out!
Good move, B!
Good move, B. How many civilians did you just kill there? And they go ahead and blow up the jeweler's building that was central to the plot of Transformers 3. You know, just for old time's sake. The chase ends when they crash into a little product placement.
Okay, sir. You better have insurance.
Insurance? It's a freaking spaceship. You go get insurance on a freaking spaceship. Good luck with that, buddy. Is your car? Huh? Sweetie, hand me my alien gun.
Here you go.
Great. Even when Shia LaBeouf isn't even in this movie, he's still somehow in this movie! Yeah, you crashed into his car, asshole. He's allowed to be kind of pissed off at you. But yeah, I know, there are more important things for you to do. You don't have time for this. So what do? Simple.
Sir! You better have insurance.
Shut up! Back to the mothership. The other Autobots have sprung Optimus, and they jump ship just as Lockdown makes the jump to hyperspace. They reconvene with the others and tell them about how Megatron's programming took over the entire KSI robotics operation.
They had a whole mess of dead Decepticon heads, and they were downloading their minds. And I was in charge of autopsy duty. They hooked me up to Megatron, and that mind wasn't as dead as they thought. He fed them the science and specs. Also, they could build him a brand new body. Total inside custom job. KSI might have named the body the snappy name of Galvatron, but that's just Megatron reincarnated.
You knew this and you didn't warn them?
Little girl, you can go to a pretty dark place when you're on death row. He's been playing KSI all this time.
And that gives you reason not to tell them? It just so happens that KSI is taking their robotics research to their lab in Beijing. Tucci is planning to detonate the seeds safely in the Mongolian desert and harvest the resulting transformium, partially so we can continue building Transformers and other projects, but also to help Kelsey Grammer build a new United States Army for the sake of sparing human life.
Just think of all the American lives we're gonna save.
Villains in a Transformers movie who actually have good intentions instead of just roaring like monsters while twirling their mustaches? What madness is this?!
Just think of all the American lives we're gonna save.
But while Tucci is planning to detonate the seed where it'll do as little damage as possible, Galvatron is going to accelerate things and blow it up in the middle of Hong Kong.
The blast wave will incinerate that city into molten metal. He'll have enough to build a massive army and annihilate your species forever.
Well, to be perfectly fair, humanity did destroy all of Cybertron, and, well, let's face it, you've been out for blood for significantly less, so, yeah. Kate tries to appeal not to Tucci, the corporate villain, but Tucci, the fellow inventor, about Galvatron's plan to detonate the seed. But like all inventors who actually make it in life, he's not listening. How did he get Tucci's phone number anyway? Then we get this weird little scene.
All I want is to have our lives back. It's your call, whatever you want. Are we safer on our own, or are we safer with them?
She's a keeper. Must take after her mom.
1. Cade's been giving her the "I'm your father and you're not even an adult yet" card throughout the entire movie. Why is this suddenly the point where he decides to give her the responsibility to make her own decisions? 2. Irish McBoyfriend here has been trying to steal her away throughout this entire movie. Now is really not the time to try to bond with Daddy. They make their way to China, and then Galvatron wakes up and activates the other trans bootlegs.
My brothers, today I grant you your freedom, and from now on, you are commanded by me. Rise up! Go find my seed.
Now? Right here? Tucci and his associates make off with the seed, and the Autobots arrive not long afterwards. Well, there you go. You go through the trouble of building a wall, and the aliens are still coming through. Hi-yo!
When you said you were done fighting for humans, you didn't mean that, did you?
How many more of my kind must be sacrificed to atone for your mistakes?
Well, what do you think being human means? That's what we do. We make mistakes. And sometimes out of those mistakes come the most amazing things. When I fixed you, it was for a reward. That was it. That was why. For money. And it was me making a mistake. Without it, you wouldn't be here. So even if you got no faith in us, I'm asking you to do what I do. I'm asking you to look at all the junk and see the treasure. You gotta have faith, Prime. In who we can be.
That's not exactly a bad line, except it would have worked a lot better in the first movie, back when Optimus could still draw some parallels between his people and ours. But so far, we've got 3 other movies that are too full of crap, and it's just turn him off of humanity completely. I mean, it's a nice line, but this is just too little too late. Speaking of too late, check this out. Tucci texts his lab back in Chicago to ask about the seed's blast range, and listen to their ringtone here.
I love this! This is so good! Oh, hang on. We're getting a text from Il Duce in Hong Kong.
It's nice to finally hear the "more than meets the eye" musical cue, but that should have been in the soundtrack ever since the first movie. Kelsey Grammer's goons are trying to get the seed for themselves, but Tucci's assistant here is able to kick their asses using only her fists and what she has around her, like Jackie Chan. Because Chinese?
How did you
Police training prior to my MBA.
I love you.
Get to the roof.
All right, okay.
Leave it to the Chinese woman in a Michael Bay film to not be treated like a second-class citizen. Again, mind blown! The climactic battle ensues between the Autobots and the trans-bootlegs over the seed. Cade gets the drop on Agent No Sister, and Optimus pulls the Matrix Caliber out of the round table and frees some of the other prisoners that were on the ship that he escaped with.
You've got to be kidding me. Legendary warriors, the powers that created us now want us all extinguished. We must join forces, or else forever be their slaves. So today you stand with us, or you stand against me. Only together can we survive! Let me lead you! Come here! We're giving you freedom! You defend my family. Or die.
So what he's basically saying is,
we've got a long way to go, and you're gonna take us there, and you're not gonna give us any trouble about it. Right?
we get more pew pew ba-dow ba-dow chomp chomp, and I gotta say, it is so satisfying seeing these robot fights held by just the robots. I have nothing but respect for our military, but it's supposed to be the Autobots doing the bulk of the fighting. Speaking of fight scene improvements, look at this. We have Bumblebee fighting that Stinger robot on top of the Dinobot strafe as he soars through the skyscraper canyons of Hong Kong. And because one of the combatants is yellow and the other is reddish-pink, I can tell who's who and why I should care. And I can clearly see everything that's happening. This movie franchise finally figured out how to do a Transformers fight scene.
You.
Oh. You.
Step forward.
What?
Your science will be responsible for humanity's extinction.
All right, I know that you're sensitive to this whole bioethical dilemma.
Maybe all he wants to hear you say is that something should never be invented.
I'm sorry, but didn't you say at the beginning of the movie that that was backwards thinking?
Dad, you think maybe something should never be invented?
No, I don't. That's backwards thinking.
If we're supposed to learn anything from this parable, it's that we should regard the Transformers with a little bit more reverence. That's why there's been so much good in this movie, while the last 3 movies have been steaming piles of dog shit. They take the seed so it'll explode in the countryside, but Lockdown has pulled a major U-turn, and he's right on their heels. Sure is a good thing we got the only plastic car in China.
Oh no. No, the magnet. Get out! Get out! The magnet! Come here! Get out! No, 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 no! No, we're going.
Game on!
Game on! I got it! I'm getting this bomb out of here!
Give me the gun.
It's you and me now.
I have no idea who I'm talking to, but it's just you and me now.
Optimus confronts Lockdown. Cade goes in to give him some backup, but when it looks like Grammer has the drop on him,
You see, it takes patience to make a man. The patience to watch and wait, to protect all of us quietly, for God and country, without any recognition at all. Cade! There are no good aliens or bad aliens, Yeager. It's just us and them. And you chose them.
If there are no good aliens and no bad aliens, then that stands to reason that there are no good CIA agents and no bad CIA agents. Did he really deserve that? Bumblebee joins the fray with Tessa and Douchebag, and they all band together to take down Lockdown.
Honor to the end.
And slicing your enemies vertically in half to the end. But mostly honor to the end.
We shall meet again, Prime, for I am reborn.
And for some reason, I'll take on yet another look instead of hanging on to this one. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Galvatron sulks off to parts unknown. The world is safe once again. Cade and Tessa have never felt closer. Optimus leaves the Dinobots free to terrorize the Chinese countryside. Insert Godzilla joke here. And he takes the seed off-world to keep humanity safe.
Will we ever see you again?
Cade Yeager, I do not know. But whenever you look to the stars, think of one of them as my soul. Defend this family, Autobots. As they have you. Defend all they can be.
So he blasts off into space to seek his creators, leaving this movie on one of the best damn setups for a sequel ever.
There are mysteries to the universe we were never meant to solve. But who we are and why we are here are not among them. Those answers we carry inside. I am Optimus Prime, and this message is to my creators. Leave planet Earth alone, 'cause I'm coming for you.
So that was Transformers: Age of Extinction. It was far from perfect, but damn is it satisfying. Seriously, this really feels like what the Transformers movies should have been the whole time. The relationship between Optimus and Cade was so much more believable than Sam just yelling at Bumblebee every chance he got. The other human characters were mostly there to drive the story instead of just distracting us with unfunny comic relief. The Transformers themselves actually got a decent amount of screen time. The action scenes were easy to follow, and like any good science fiction story, it expanded on the Transformers mythology as well as opening up some new ideas. Admittedly, it could stand to have a little trimming here and there, and it'd be nice if Boyfriend McIrish wasn't a colossal dick cheese that could only be rivaled by Shia LaBeouf. My god, his absence was such a breath of fresh air. But otherwise, this movie got the closest to what a Transformers movie should be. And the absolute best part about this movie? It gave Peter Cullen the recognition he deserves by getting his handprints at Grauman's Chinese theater. Not a lot of voice actors get that kind of prestige, and Cullen got it by playing a giant toy robot of all things. That is the power of the Transformers, damn it! As I said at the beginning of this review, I'm a sucker for tradition. So, I would like to raise my glass to you all. Thank you for helping me make it through 250 reviews. Thank you for watching, sharing, laughing, commenting, subscribing, pledging to my Patreon, giving me movies and comics to review. I love you guys. And I'm going to continue giving you my very best all through the next 250 reviews and beyond. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year.
follow. Comic